Let's talk for a few minutes about the inverted pyramid from chapter 11. The chapter does a wonderful job contextualizing the history of the inverted pyramid and why it has been important for so long. So, along with the summer lead, mastering the format of the inverted pyramid is really probably one of the most important skills to learn in this class, and also one of the most frequent that you would see on the job. One of the earliest inverted pyramid stories comes from the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, where, again, the most important information was stated fast, right away, the first thing, and in this particular case, the only thing, right? The president was shot in the theater tonight and perhaps mortally wounded. This is 1865, concise to the point, and the most important, again, comes first. The president was shot. As you read chapter 11, the format of the inverted pyramid calls for the organization of a new story around facts, not around ideas, not around chronology, which is why sometimes it's been called an anti-story, because it doesn't really build, it doesn't set the scene. It really comes with the most important information first. The lead is typically a summary lead, and the least important information comes last. The format of the inverted pyramid is still preferred today. Again, it's so popular. It has withheld the test of time, even though people have criticized it because it tapers off, that it doesn't have a lot to give readers as you go towards the end of the story. Some visual representations of the inverted pyramid vary, but they all kind of begin with this idea of who, what, when, where, why, how. Also, the so what, as we've been talking, to be right away in the beginning of the story, in the lead and the first couple of paragraphs, and then the least information towards the bottom of the story. The idea behind this is that it'll keep the story short and to the point. It'll be concise, even though the end is less important. There might still be some aspects of information that are important to keep towards the end. So let me give you some examples. If we're going to the Oakland Post today, meaning October 16 in my case, we'll notice the story about the interim dean of students. And if you're checking out the order of paragraphs, you'll notice the lead gives the most important information. The name of the person, Michael Wadsworth, has been named interim dean of students for Oakland University. This comes following Nancy Marshall's retirement from the position. To be very picky, we don't have a when here. He's been named recently, but we don't know exactly when. But this is the bulk of the information, the name and his new title, and basically why, because Nancy Marshall retired. Next paragraph, we have a little bit more about him. He has a history dealing with students, some of his job qualifications. Then we have a quote from Glenn McIntosh. The community of Oakland University will recognize his name, and he basically endorses the choice of the hire. He's not only appreciated by campus, but then by students. So we have one endorsement here, high credibility source. We go to Oakland University Student Congress President. Again, a very credible source for our student body reading this newspaper. In the next paragraph, second paragraph, the quote is long, so it has two ideas. It's split up into paragraphs, and then so on and so forth. If we were to scroll down to the end of the story, we have a paragraph on from Wadsworth himself. He would like to think about his relationship to students. If we were to cut down this paragraph, the story would still make sense. And an example from our slides, you will see another story on voting for Michigan residents, where also if you were to read the 4 paragraphs, which I'll let you do on your own, you will notice that you can also make complete sense of the story if we were to eliminate paragraph by paragraph from the bottom. So it's the final day for Michigan residents who want to participate to register to vote. The second paragraph will give you the deadline. The third paragraph tells you who's running. You can register by mail in the next paragraph, to check registration status online in the next paragraph, and then the sample ballot in the last. Again, if we were to eliminate the information on the sample ballot, we would still fully understand the point of the story. If we cut off one more paragraph from the bottom, it still, again, gives you the bulk of the information, what you need to know as a reader. So the test of eliminating paragraphs from the end of the story coming up will tell you if this is a true inverted pyramid story with any news story. Here's another example from the BBC today. A story about Rihanna declining Super Bowl invitation in support of quarterback. This is a fairly short story, a few paragraphs. It basically talks about NFL and reports of Rihanna declining an invitation, a little information on Kaepernick, who again fit into a bigger movement. We have some context here in the third paragraph. A source close to the singer, who will be now leading the show, what happens to players who refuse to stand, info on Kaepernick, he's filed a grievance, and then BBC Sport also contacted her. If we were again to do that test, is this a true inverted pyramid or not, we would eliminate the last paragraph. Does the story still make sense without knowing that Rihanna was contacted? Absolutely. How about additional info on Kaepernick? Absolutely. And we can cut off even one more paragraph. Do we still know what the bulk of the story is? What is it that the BBC is trying to tell us if we cut off the next paragraph? Absolutely. We still know that she refused, why fitting into some context, and that Maroon 5 replaces her or will be on the ticket. Even if we get rid of Maroon 5, we still understand something that happened involving Kaepernick and Rihanna. Even without that paragraph, we could even actually go back all the way to the first couple of paragraphs and still understand what the story is about. That is a true inverted pyramid format. Please go to Moodle and analyze Anatomy of a Story document that is listed just below the lecture notes. And you will also, if you follow paragraph by paragraph, you will see a very strong summary lead followed by information on an airplane crash with an important source, credible, and then more information about the victims, the people on the plane, how they've been injured in the following paragraph. The key information about what happened will be in these first few paragraphs, backed up by important sources. More information on patients as we go on. This is a longer story. You will notice that it has been put together by a number of people. The report is extensive, coming from a lot of sources, but it should give you a sense of the organization of a news story if we're thinking about key informations, again, backed up by sources and what order they are given in.